Yeah, I think he emailed me a real audio video file, which I don't know.
It should have just been a WAV file.
It wasn't. It was an RAR file.
Oh, that's it was just a compressed file because all of it together was too big to send through the email. They have a 25 megabyte limit, and all of it together was like, with even compressed, it was like 30. That's why I had to send more than one email.
Oh, well. Let's figure out how to decompress it.
Do you have WinRAR?
Nope. I use Mac.
It's a very handy one. I think you can still use it on a Mac. It's just, it compresses and uncompresses files. Makes it easier to send.
Do you have it with you?
Yeah.
Well, today we're going to look at some presentations. All right, so today we're going to watch some presentations. I only have 3, I think. I should have 5. Maybe I got 4, I can't remember. That didn't work. We do an email. Why can't I type? Okay. I was typing incorrectly. So, today we're going to watch some presentations of our fellow students about trebuchets. See how we did. What the heck? Okay, whatever. We have, let's see, we have one from Shannon, we have one from, let's see if I can find all the ones that I need to do here. That's the wrong one. Here is one of them. Open that up. And then we also have, let's go in here. We have one from Ross Johnson. And let's see, we have one from Tyler. There we go. So let's see if this computer can open this thing. Apparently it's not open either. Let's try one more time here. Can't open this file. So I can't open that here either. So unless you can you bring it up on your computer?
I think so.
Okay.
Do you have a?
We'll plug in your computer in up here when we're done with these other two. Okay, so we're doing some PowerPoint presentations today. And so your responsibility as a student is, whether you're watching this live or whatever. Hey, have we connected yet? We didn't connect, did we? Let's connect to our people in Stapleton. Hopefully they're still there. Sorry I'm so late connecting. I forgot to connect before I started class. That happens sometimes when I'm not thinking. So today we're actually going to do some presentations. And I have presentations from 3 of our 5 students. 3 of our, we have 5 students I think total, maybe 6. I think 5. So we're going to look at these presentations today. This is actually not the right presentation. We're missing, gotta go back and find the right one here. That's the motor. We want trebuchet. There we go, okay. So I have 2 presentations that I hope will work on this computer. I haven't checked them on this computer yet, but we're going to watch the presentations. And your job as a student during this presentation is to write down 3 things with details, not just a couple of words, but 3 things that you think that this student did well in their presentation, and 3 things that you think that they could improve on in this presentation. So you might want to open up a Word document or get out a piece of paper or something like that. Remember that we still have projects that we're doing. You should still be working on the radio transmitter project, and if you need some parts for that from me, tell me right away so I can try to get them to you as soon as possible. Your radio project should be done, and your logbooks should be done for those projects, and so on and so forth. And then next week we're starting, I believe, our hydraulic arm project. So we still have lots of projects going on, but today we're going to look at some presentations. Once you have filled out your paper, so for each presentation you watch today, you should have 3 things that you think the presenter did well, 3 things that you think they could have worked on, and I need the name of the presenter, and of course I need your name at the top of the document or top of the page or whatever. Then you can send that to me or email it to me, scan it to me, whatever needs to be done. And then move on with projects. Now, if you have not finished your trebuchet project presentation, you can still turn it in. But you're going to lose some points because it's not being evaluated here today. So you can still get partial credit for turning in, but these are the only 3 that I got. I got one from Shannon, one from Ross, and one from Tyler. If you turned one in, but I don't have it, then we need to find it somewhere. Okay, so we'll start off with this one. Hopefully we'll have our volume up high enough so we can hear everything. Let's turn everything. It looks like we're doing okay. And let's see if we can't make this work. Let's see.
Good afternoon. My name is Shannon. We will begin with an overview of what I'm about to tell you. First,
hold on a second, that's too loud. Let's fix that problem. Let's go down in volume. Now let's start again from the beginning. Slideshow. Okay.
my name is Shannon Morris, and I'm here to present a PowerPoint presentation over my trebuchet project. We will begin with an overview of what I'm about to tell you. First, I will give you some background information by showing you the history of the trebuchet and telling you how it works. Next, we will view the project specifications, and I will then step you through the design process and explain my trials and alterations of my first trebuchets were first...
Can you guys not hear or see or something? Can't see it. Okay, let's try this again. Let me get my handy dandy remote control out here and see if I can fix that. This should fix it. Now can you see it? All right, we'll try it one more time. Here we go. Slideshow from beginning. Here we go.
Good afternoon. My name is Shannon Morse, and I'm here to present a PowerPoint presentation over my trebuchet project. We will begin with an overview of what I'm about to tell you. First, I will give you some background information by showing you the history of the trebuchet and telling you how it works. Next, we will view the project specifications, and I will then step you through the design process and explain my trials and alterations of my first and second experiment. Finally, I will present my results. Trebuchets were first used as a weapon in the 12th century during the medieval times in siege warfare. Trebuchets could hurl larger stones over longer distances with a lot of force by using a gravity-powered mechanism known as a counterweight. Trebuchets were more accurate than catapults because they could throw larger projectiles farther. Back then, the whole point was to have a weapon that could do the most damage from a farther distance so that the enemy wouldn't be close enough to fight back. Trebuchets could do this, so that's why they got upgraded from a catapult to a trebuchet. Some of the things that they launched at their enemies would be stones, burning tar or sand, which became trapped inside the enemy's armor, dung, which is another word they use for manure, dead bodies, and rotting matter. So what we have here is a beam, which is also called an arm on the trebuchet. The arm is probably the most important component of a trebuchet. The range depends on the location of the pivot point, the length of the sling, the angle of the finger, and the mass of the counterweight. Everything that I just listed is either on the arm or somehow attached to it. The reason for the wheels is because when the trebuchet is fired, the counterweight falls, which rotates the arm and swings the sling up. This action creates great force against the frame of the trebuchet, causing it to jolt back and forth. It's just like when you shoot a big gun and it kicks. The wheels allow the trebuchet to not only be mobile, but to also prevent the frame from getting torn to pieces. Now that you know what a trebuchet is and how it works, we will begin in the project. A trebuchet had to be built and tested. The height could not exceed 10 inches to the top of the pivot point. It had to be able to launch a 4-pound projectile over 20 feet. There could not be any electrical or elastic components, so this trebuchet had to be completely powered by gravity. We could only use the materials that were provided in our kit. Now we get into the design process. By researching, it was found out that the mass ratio is typically 100 to 1, the arm ratio is 5 to 1, and the cocking angle is 45 degrees. So after the research was done, a plan was sketched onto graph paper. The design was kept simple because there was a time limit of 2 days to build, test, and make the video for the project. A stationary jigsaw was needed to cut the basswood strips. A drill press with the correct sizes of drills was needed to make the pivot points and string attachments. And a 200-gram scale was also needed to weigh the projectile. A sledgehammer was used as a counterweight and tied to the trebuchet arm with a string. In order to get the string through the armhole, a toothpick was used to poke the string through the hole. Carpenter glue was used to hold the basswood strips together. A rock was used as the projectile. Duct tape was wrapped around the rock until it weighed 4 ounces. Here is a picture similar to what my trebuchet looked like. It was 12 inches in length, 10 inches in height, and the arm was 12 inches with holes drilled at 2, 2.5, and 3 inches from the counterweight for the pivot points. The trebuchet was made so that it could be easily modified. Excess string was left on the sling so that it could be shortened or lengthened if needed. The glue was left to dry overnight, and testing began the next morning. Here is a picture that is similar to the trebuchet that was made. It was simple and very possible to work for what needed to be accomplished within this small amount of time. The variables that were changed throughout the experiment were the counterweight, sling length, pivot point, and angle of the finger. The main problem was that the counterweight was not heavy enough to launch the projectile over the distance that needed to be traveled. The heavier the counterweight, the better, right? That's not always the case, and here's why. The mass of the counterweight was increased to 10 pounds, and the next thing that happened was that the wooden dowel split right through the middle, and the trebuchet frame broke. The glue did not hold. Obviously, this design was not going to work because a 10-pound counterweight destroyed it. A stronger trebuchet was needed to be built. A new trebuchet was constructed and 3 major things were changed. The width of the trebuchet was widened so that the counterweight went crashing to the frame again. The single basswood strips were replaced with I-beams, and the wooden dowel was allowed to be replaced with a metal rod. After a few launches, some of the wood glue would fail, and new wood glue would be applied, and duct tape would be wrapped around the beams to hold it together. The counterweight was 13.7 pounds, and my final 3 launches had a box attached to the arm to hold the projectile. Measuring tapes were used to determine the range of the projectile. For the first trebuchet, the farthest launch performed was 15.5 feet. The counterweight was 10 pounds and the sling was 7 inches. The pivot point that was used was at the 2.5-inch hole. This trebuchet did not accomplish the range that needed to be reached, and it broke when the force of the counterweight split the dowel and crashed into the base of the frame. The farthest launch for my second projectile was 21 feet. It had a counterweight of 13.7 pounds. All in all, a trebuchet was designed and constructed to meet the given criteria. The final trebuchet was 9.5 inches in height and was able to launch a 4-ounce projectile over 20 feet. After multiple tests and adjustments, the trebuchet was able to meet all the requirements.
Okay, that was a very, very nice presentation. Thank you very much, Shannon. She'll watch this video later, so that'll be good. And just so you know, even if you're watching your own presentation, I do want you to write down 3 things that you think you did well, 3 things you think you could have improved on. It's always good to watch your own presentation and evaluate that. We'll go on to our next presentation, which is by Ross Johnson. Give you just a minute or so to finish up any writing that you want to do about Shannon's presentation. Does anybody need more time to write things down?
I'm trying to think of a third thing for long.
Give you a little bit more time to figure out your comments. That was Shannon Morse, and should have 3 good things and 3 things to work on. So let's go ahead and watch this next one. Now I'm not seeing that you recorded your voice in this one, Ross. Let's see if it plays anyway. Doesn't have any voice attached to it. Is that correct, Ross? Okay. Do you want to go ahead and talk about your presentation and just tell me when to switch slides? Well, that's your other option. You can go. Do you want to go ahead and record? Try to record again so that we can watch this. Okay. Why don't you go ahead and do that, and then we'll watch it as soon as you can get that recorded. Your only other option really is to give it live. So. All right, we have one more to watch really quick. So let's get yours up here, Tyler. You recorded voice with yours, right, Tyler?
Yeah, but you said you couldn't get it open.
Do you not have the original?
I've got it here on a Google Docs.
Well, why don't you come up here and open it in Google Docs? Just open it on this computer in Google Docs. We'll watch it directly in Google Docs. Just come on up here and sign into your Google Docs.
I'm already on. Might as well give it live.
You don't want to Did you not record?
I recorded, it's just, I don't think I recorded very well.
Oh, so you'd rather give it live? Okay.
Yeah, it was kind of late.
Do you need HDMI or do you need VGA?
I've got HDMI. Actually, I think I have both.
Okay. I think this HDMI has audio on it. I'm not sure about that actually.
I'll give it live anyways.
Bastard. Go ahead and put her in there and we'll switch over to HDMI. So where's HDMI outputs? Should be adjusting.
I believe so.
Okay. Go ahead and give your presentation and we'll listen.
Right. This is my trebuchet project. My overall goals were for my final product to be stable, safe, and be able to throw the required 4-ounce weight 20 feet. That's basic concept of the whole thing was that sorry, I'm stuttering. I'm trying to talk to you. Instead of the traditional catapult, I decided to use a sling-style trebuchet with a hanging weight instead of a fixed weight. I used plastic parts from my slow car project as the base for building instead of the balsa wood. While I was constructing, I figured out that the weight was too large to allow the arm to swing the full distance. So I had to raise the whole thing up onto these legs here. And then when I got the legs on it, I figured out that they weren't stable enough, so I had to put the dowel between them to keep them from bowing outwards from the weight of the counterweight. And at first I wanted the whole rig to be more adjustable so the arm could slide between those two dowels there and the center dowel, the pivot point, but that was not strong enough to support the weight of the counterweight. So you might be able to see some wood glue there on the dowels, and there's some zip ties holding up the pivot point for the counterweight. And here, at first I had a scoop for the counterweight, but then I redesigned and made it into a sling. There you can see the finger and the loop. The finger is made from a flathead screwdriver. The loop's just a piece of string knotted in with a loop on both ends. One to hook onto the paper clip there, the other one to hook over the finger. And then here's a close-up of the reinforcements I made to the arm. You can see the zip ties and the wood glue. And then I had a video for the actual testing, but it's not part of it. And then the final project was safe. I've typed safe twice. It is safe and stable, but it was incapable of throwing the weight the full required distance of 20 feet. The longest throw I had was 4 feet. So I think that my counterweight was not heavy enough, but I didn't have anything else to replace it with. And that's it.
That's it?
Doesn't do that.
All right, well, thank you. Excellent, thank you. Make sure that you've got some things to write down about 3 good things and 3 things to work on, even if it's your own presentation. So you got to sit down and write some things about your own presentation. And then, if you could share that document with me, my email dailyj@mpcc.edu. That'll be a much easier way for me to go and to grab that.
See if I can figure that out.
Just go up to, I think it's sharing, or I think there's a little sharing button or something like that. Up on the left side, or maybe it's on, I don't know where it is, but there's some kind of button around there that talks about sharing a document, or maybe it's document settings or something like that. Now they've changed it a little bit, so I can't remember what it is.
There's an email collaborators button.
Yeah, you can do that too. And it'll ask who your collaborators are. Make me a collaborator. So let me see if I can get on to mine and show you what it is. I think that's my password. Not right.
There we go.
Did you find that?
Yeah. You've already collaborated.
Good. So I should be able to see that at some point.
And it says you can edit.
Okay.
Or
Good.
Look at that will do.
So that's what it's going to look like when we are doing presentations. You will record your presentation in PowerPoint, and then PowerPoint will give the presentation for you. It kind of removes a little bit of the anxiety and nerves from the presentation. Gives you a chance to practice it several times and get it just right, how you like it. And it's a really good way to practice real presentations, because then you can do the presentation and then you can watch it and listen to yourself and say, well, maybe I don't like the way I said that, maybe I took too long doing this, and maybe I need to say more here or whatever else. It's a really good tool. And if you don't think you're going to be making presentations in your life, think again. It's something just about everybody does, whoever becomes anything in their life. And if you want to become something in your life, be guaranteed that you're going to be giving presentations. You have to learn how to do it properly. There are no end of bad presenters out there. Trust me, I listen to them all the time at work. So there's no end of bad presenters. Don't be a bad presenter that everybody rolls their eyes at, falls asleep during, or just avoids going to their presentations. You want to be somebody who actually makes a point, accomplishes something, and is interesting to listen to. So, make sure you get your presentations done. We have presentations for the Trebuchet project, and we will also have presentations for the next hydraulic arm project probably, and presentations for the final project at the end. So, as far as today goes, you still have some time to finish up your radio transmitter. If your radio is not working still, get that done. Let's get this radio project done. Get it working. I have one student who's maybe two students, I can't remember, that have been able to pick up radio stations on their radio, so we'll get that done. If you have questions, concerns, need parts, give me a call, send me an email so I can get those to you. Any questions before we finish up today? Turn you loose on your projects. Okay. We'll call it good then. Sorry, go ahead. You don't necessarily have to have a circuit board to do the project, but if you want a circuit board, you can get it. You can get one at a Radio Shack, or you can. I can send you one. Do you want me to send you one, or do you want to try to find one really quick? Okay, both of you? Okay. I'll send you some circuit boards and some other stuff, and we'll be on our way. You're welcome. Okay, with that being done, I will